Welcome back to the news at 10. As Delta State prepares for the local government elections, Governor EID-EL-FITR is allaying any fear of electoral malpractice. The governor, who gave assurance of free, fair and credible election, also told party supporters to conduct themselves properly during the exercise. He spoke during the rally, a mega rally organized by the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party in Sapele, Delta State, where members of the party voiced desire for it to return to Aso Rock.
Thousands of party supporters of the People's Democratic Party in Delta State gathered here at the Sapele Stadium for what they call the mega rally of the party. This rally is coming 2 years into the administration of Governor Okowa, and the organizers believe this platform offers them an opportunity to assess the performance of the governor and their views as summed up by the lawmaker representing Isoko North in the House of Representatives.
Sometimes I tell you we have a mission. We have a mission because I have stated that the test of the pudding is in the eating. We have tested the PDP government. So, under the leadership of Dr. EID-EL-FITR, 2019, we are claiming Aso Rock back.
Some politicians belonging to other political parties decamped to the PDP, and they are received by the chairman of the party.
And the 500 people you see here, this is the symbol of APC. I drop it down. This is the symbol of APC. I drop it down. They are also highly welcome. The truth of the matter is that in this party, there is no joiner, there is no founder. Every member of this party is an equal member, equal owner of this party. Yes,
For the governor, the forthcoming council elections will give the PDP an opportunity to consolidate its presence in the state, and he says this exercise must be free, fair and acceptable to all.
We will, by the grace of God, ensure that there is a free and fair primaries. Because I came here as governor through a free and fair process. So there will be free and fair primaries.
This is the first party rally organized by the PDP since the administration of Governor EID-EL-FITR, and the leadership of the party is hoping to build on the success achieved at the Sapele rally by extending it to other parts of the state.
More reactions continue to trail the recent legislature executive disagreements over some projects in the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing, and frowned on the manner in which the National Assembly handles the proposed funding. The National Assembly, on its own part, has criticized the Minister, Babatunde Fashola, of misleading statements and vague details provided in some of the figures in the projects proposed by the Ministry. Mr. Falana says the National Assembly cannot rewrite the budget. He was speaking on our political program, Sunday Politics. The lawyer also spoke about what needs to be done to restructure Nigeria, but began by addressing the controversy over the budget impasse.
There is no way you can put 10 billion or 20 billion without specifying. That will not be budgeting, because Section 81 is talking of details of the estimate and expenditure. So you can't have an omnibus figure. So if that was done on the part of the executive, it was clearly against the law of budgeting and budgeting. So again, that is where the National Assembly is empowered by Section 81 to scrutinize the budget and make sure you do not have omnibus provisions or duplications and so on and so forth. But you can't rewrite the budget. That is the point.
You did say that the government of the APC is not sincere on the issue of restructuring. What did you mean?
No, what I'm saying is that the first item in the manifesto of the APC is to the effect that the APC, if elected into power, will restructure the country in order to realize true federalism and restore the federal spirit That's the first paragraph of the manifesto of the APC. The country voted for the APC on the basis of his manifesto. We are going to restructure the country. We are going to fight corruption. We are going to fight impunity. So you can't turn around and say, sorry, restructuring is not in our agenda. But that was how what you campaigned for. We didn't ask you. In order to restore Nigeria as a federal republic, we must go back to where we were by 1966, when the military adventurers or political adventurers turned the country into a unitary state.
Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana. The federal government has a budget of 7.4 trillion naira, while the 36 states have a budget of 6.7 trillion naira. However, several domestic and international analysts have suggested that Nigeria's 2017 budget and projected revenue growth is insufficient to meet the infrastructure and welfare needs of the nation, a nation that is expected to be the third most populated country by 2050. Does the budget have any direct impact on national unity? Here with me tonight to discuss this subject matter is Mr. Babajide Ogunsanwo, the Channels Television's data and information analyst. I'm glad you could join us again tonight. It was Henry Ford who said, coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, while working together is success. Now, how successful is Nigeria placed on the scale of national unity?
So if we're going to go with Henry Ford's definition, I think we're at that middle stage, keeping together. But listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. The whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. Now that's a phrase that we occasionally hear. But let's put a second thought on it. The whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. Here I've got the map of Nigeria. Now, clearly, this is not the map of Nigeria, but now that I've got your attention, this is a phone. This phone, with all its parts, take out the screen, take out the processors, the chips, it's of no value. But put it all together, it's of phenomenal power. But nobody needs a phone without a battery. So a battery is useless without a phone. And the phone is useless without a battery. And so the sum of the parts of Nigeria is bigger than the whole. So we get more value as a nation if we do stay together, just like this phone, than if we separate it into the screen, the processors, and the chips. But first of all, we need to ask ourselves, are there genuine reasons for some regions to be dissatisfied? Yes, there are. And let's quickly look at some of the reasons from each of the 6 regions. The Southeast, for instance, could say they are being treated as the minority. The Southeastern region is only 28,000 square kilometers, a very small region. Kwara State, where the Senate president is from, is larger than all the 5 states in the Southeastern region. Bauchi, where the Speaker of the House of Representatives is from, is larger than all the 5 states of the region. And indeed, the Southeast gets a lower budget from that popular account called FAC. And so they have some genuine reasons, perhaps. But if we allow that argument to go on, then the Northwest could say, excuse me, sir, we are the largest region, 280,000 square kilometers, a third of Nigeria's land. And going by that definition, being the largest region, you will expect the Northeast region will be where all the infrastructure would land in.
But is either side valid? The arguments on both sides, will they be valid?
They are reasonable, but that isn't sufficient reason for us to go our separate ways. Because again, yes, infrastructure isn't coming into the south, into the northeast, but we're seeing a lot of destruction going into the south. So each region has their peculiarities. The northwest, again, could say, post 5 decades of independence, they are the poorest region. 7 out of 10 adults living in the northwest are poor. So they also have their reasons. And indeed, the southwest could also come up with its reasons, holding the economic potential. But we should never forget that the sum, just like the phone, is bigger than the sum of the past. So we generally need to look at that and stay united.
And I'd like to expand on the question I asked, which is whether arguments are valid. Are they also valid concerning that some capital projects are distributed based on religious and ethnic sentiments? Are they also valid?
So let's split it up. Let's look at religion and let's look at the capital projects. Religion, Section 10 of the Constitution states that the nation has no religion. And so today, the leaders of the teachings of Prophet Muhammad need to push out two messages. And indeed, the disciples of the Christ also need to come together to push out two messages. And that is, though we could have our individual differences in religious beliefs, united as a nation, we have no religion. And so we need to do work together. We need to work together because the nation has no religion. Nigeria has no religion. That is from the Constitution. Now, based on capital projects, let's look at even housing and what's going on in the Ministry of Works, Budget and Housing, because that is the focus. And if you look at it, you will notice that all states have projects. Well, let's look at and put an emphasis on the projects in the Southeast, because that's interesting. We've got the second Niger Bridge, a 12 billion naira proposal from the executive. Based on what is going on today, that is down to 7 billion naira. We have the Enugu-Port Harcourt project as well, a road project, 9 billion naira. And there's the Onitsha-Enugu project, over 5 billion naira. You've got billions and billions of amount going into projects in the Southeast. But again, should our unity be tied based on projects and money? Let's listen to Mahatma Gandhi. He says, there's no way to peace. There's no way to peace. Peace is the way. And so we can't keep looking at projects and saying our unity is tied on how much each of these regions gets. That wouldn't create sustainable peace. Peace has to be created irrespective of where the money goes to.
Rajide, always a pleasure having you on the News at 10. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight.
For me, it's always great to be here.
Beyond our shores now, medical education is a vital component of the overall health sector, and that's because it's the baking room where future medical practitioners are made. Now picture a bakery without the right equipment and ingredients. What will the output be? Your guess is as good as mine. Concerns around undergraduate medical training in Nigeria and what's being done to bridge the gap form closing discussions at the ANPA convention in Atlanta, United States. Our correspondent Yomi Otaigbe reports.
What are the challenges? What are the obstacles?
Taking the center stage on the final day of the 2017 conference of the Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas is a stakeholders dialogue on improving the quality of medical care in Nigeria. Among other issues, the standard of undergraduate medical education in the country is on the front burner.
In some institutions, there is no synergy between the colleges and the hospitals. That problem Council has noticed, and that is why when we go for accreditation, we try as much as possible to bring them together.
We need to look at the process by which you become a teacher. The fact that I'm a top-class clinician does not make me a top-class teacher. And what we have, and that most of us know, is that I finish residency, I become a consultant, and I pick a job as a lecturer. What qualifies me to be a lecturer?
We observe that the facilities we used in those days are still the facilities they are using today. There's no adequate budgeting to upgrade those facilities. We have pressure from parents on their children to read medicine. That is a great problem.
To produce well-grounded medical practitioners in Nigeria will mean doing things differently, and ideas flow freely from health management authorities in the country and their counterparts from other countries, such as the United Kingdom.
We've moved away from the days when you just sit down in a lecture hall, talk to 100 and something students, and then throw them onto the wards. No, we now have small group teaching of just about 5 or 6 people where you actually have the teacher interacting with each student. That is the way they are taught, and they get more from that than having a large group following a consultant on a world round and things.
Our curriculum has changed to make it more integrative, more student-centered, and there's a lot of now case-based, self-directed learning.
If the environment is conducive in terms of infrastructure, in terms of learning equipments in the universities, I think they should compete favorably with other people from other countries.
A lot has been said at this conference. It will be in line for participants and indeed Nigerians to expect that some of the ideas shared here will be translated into positive changes in Nigeria's health sector. From Buckhead in Atlanta, the United States, Yomi Otaigbe, Channels Television News.
Still ahead of the news, 10 African champions Cameroon crash out of FIFA Confederations Cup in Russia. We'll have more of that coming up in sports news. Please join us again.